Hello everybody, how are you? Hello everybody, how are you? It is time to start our day. It is time to work and play. Hello everybody, how are you? Welcome back, guys. Well, we've done 2 days of apple time together, and we're going to do just a couple more minutes just to check out our experiment and see how things are going. Then we're going to move on. We'll be done with apples and we'll start something new. So, are any of you guys doing the apple experiment at home? Has anybody tried it? What are you finding out? Are your apples rotting faster than you thought? Slower than you thought? What are they doing? I have to tell you, mine are rotting a lot slower than I thought. I'm really surprised. When I eat an apple and I cut it, it doesn't take very long for it to turn brown on my plate, but these are taking a while. Let's take a peek. The air one I can actually take out and show you. It's a little bit more brown and it's softer. It's a little softer, a little bit more shriveled, but not that much. I mean, it's been 3 days. I thought it would be more. The water and the vinegar, let's see if I can grab them and take them out because it's too hard to show you in the jar. I don't know if I can get them. Let's see, here's the water guy. Got him. I'm definitely getting browner. And it's interesting, but he's browner than the air one, isn't he? The water one is. And that surprises me. I thought for sure that the water one would be the one that would get the brownest the fastest. And as I told you yesterday, I really thought the vinegar one would be the safest one, that he would be preserved in the vinegar and he wouldn't really turn brown, but he's definitely the yuckiest. He is the softest and the brownest. Remember how we looked at the outside yesterday too? He is definitely the softest and the brownest. Okay, so let's update our chart for day 3. Let's take a look because I actually did update it already. I said that each one of them has gotten more brown. That's about all that's happening. Maybe it's just gotten a little bit more brown. I should probably put the vinegar's gotten a little softer too. I'll add that later. So if you're doing that at home, keep going. See what happens after a couple more days. I think I'll hold on to mine and we'll check in on them next Monday as well. But today, it's time to move on. It's time to talk about something new. We're going to start our time together with a little felt board song. Do you know what that means? A felt board is something that things stick to, and you can do finger plays with them, songs. We are going to do a little song together today. What do I have here? What is stuck to my felt board? I've got a tree, and on it, help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves. You guys are going to help me count from 5 down to 0 in our song. You ready? 5 little leaves hanging on the tree. Along came a breeze and blew one free. The little leaf fell without a sound. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4 on the tree and 1 on the ground. 4 little leaves hanging on the tree. Along came a breeze and blew one free. That little leaf fell without a sound. Now there are 1, 2, 3 on the tree and 2 on the ground. 3 little leaves hanging on the tree. Along came a breeze and blew one free. That little leaf fell without a sound. Now there's 1, 2 on the tree and 1, 2, 3 on the ground. Can you guys help me say it now that you've heard it a few times? 2 little leaves hanging on a tree. Along came a breeze and blew one free. That little leaf fell without a sound. Now there's 1 leaf on the tree and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the ground. 1 little leaf hanging on a tree. Along came a breeze and blew him free. That little leaf fell without a sound. Now there are 0 leaves on the tree and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the ground. Thank you for helping me. Good counting. Does this help you guess? What are we going to talk about today? What are we going to start talking about? We're going to talk about leaves. It's one of the things we're going to talk about. We've been talking about fall things. We talked about apples, which grow on trees. We're going to talk about leaves, which are on trees. There's one other thing that's on trees that I want to talk to you about today. I think this one is a pretty cool thing to talk about. Seed pods. In a way, we kind of talked about them already this week because we talked about apples. Apples grow on trees and they have seeds inside. Now we're going to look at some different ones, different seed pods that grow on trees. I've got a few here. Let's see what I've got first. We've got, I showed you this on Monday when we did our sink float experiment. Remember what this guy was, this little tiny guy? It's an acorn. But this one that I had found, I'm pretty sure a squirrel, had already broken into, and he's got the seed showing inside. There's the seed from the acorn. You can also call this an oak nut. It comes off of an oak tree, and it's a seed. This is a seed pod because it protects the seed. Yesterday I was able to find a whole acorn. So you can see this is what it looks like when it falls. And then this one is missing its top and its outer layer. Somebody has started gnawing at it and left us the seed to look at, which I am thankful for. We get to see inside to see what the seed looks like. So this is off of an oak tree. This is one seed pod. I have another one that comes off of what's called a maple tree. You guys, I'm sure, have seen these out and about. These are, we call them helicopters. When they fall off the tree, they spin and they fall down to the ground. They're a lot of fun to watch if you've ever seen one just spinning. Now this part is just part of the leaf itself. And here is where the seed is. And they're so tiny. I'm not going to break this one open to see because it's really hard to get into. But this is where the seed is down here. This is a seed pod for a maple tree. Again, if you can see these falling, they're really cool. See if you can find one. Here's another one. Okay, let's compare. We have the helicopter off the maple tree. Check this guy out. Do you think these are both the same? In a way they are. They're both seed pods. They both have seeds inside of them, but look at how they are different. They're the same because they're seed pods. Tell me something that's different about them. Their size is definitely different. This one is huge. This one is little. What else is different? Let's look at them. Their color. Yes, this one is a pretty purple, and this one is a nice green. This one too. This one's harder. This one's a little softer. I can move it and bend it a little bit. This one is hard. I can't do that. Now, I found a special honey locust seed pod that I want you to share with me here. Use your sense of hearing. You hear that? Those are the seeds inside of there. This one, they're all dried up. I don't hear anything, but I was lucky enough to find this one. I also have one of the seeds from inside the honey locust pod to show you. It looks very similar, very much like an apple seed. It's just a little bit bigger. And inside this big long thing, there are several of those little seeds. Okay, I have one more, and this one I know you guys know well. I know you've seen these, you've probably collected them, but when you were doing it, you probably did not know that you had a seed pod. How many of you have ever picked up or collected a pine cone? This is the seed pod for a pine tree. Deep down inside in these openings are the seeds. That is a really cool thing. Now, something else that's cool that pine cones do. If you ever have gone out after rain or early in the morning when the ground is wet, you might see a pine cone that looks more like this. What's the difference? This one is open and this one is closed. This one used to look just like this, and then I put him in some water and he closed up. All of his little sides here went up and closed. They do that to protect the seeds that are inside. Now, this took about 15-20 minutes in the water for him to close, so we don't have that time to do together. I can't put this one in the water while we're talking and watch it close because we just don't have time. But if you want to do that at home, you can take an open pine cone, put him in a bowl of water, and watch and wait patiently and see what happens. And eventually, it will be all closed up like this. Now, when you're done, after you've got it all closed up, take it out of the water and wait patiently again and watch, and it will open again. So isn't that really cool how they know how to protect their seeds? They keep them safe inside by closing when they're wet. So those are some of the seed pods we're going to look at today. Now we're going to move on and we're going to talk about leaves. Leaves are everywhere right now. They're in the trees, they're in the air, they're on the ground, they're stuck on our shoes, they're on our floors when we walk in the house, they're in our cars. Leaves are everywhere right now. Some are big, some are little, some are medium sized, some are green, some are yellow, some are red, some are orange, some are brown, some are purple. Leaves are so beautiful at this time of year, and you can really use your five senses with the leaves. You can look at them, touch them. You know, you can taste some leaves. When you eat lettuce, for example, you're eating leaves. You can smell them, see what they smell like, and you can listen to them. Have you ever walked in a crunchy pile of leaves? Oh, that makes such a fun fall sound, doesn't it? Okay, so what we're going to do with leaves today is learn a little bit about them. I have this one here that I want to show you, and I chose this one because when I turn it upside down, what shape does it make? It makes a heart. I think it's so pretty. So we're going to use him. He's going to help us learn a little bit about leaves. At the very top of the leaf is his tip, and at the very bottom is his stem. This is what holds him to the tree. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But what I really want to talk about is, I'm going to turn him over because I think you can see it better. All these lines in him, those are called his veins. Who else has veins? Do you remember somebody else? We do. We all have veins inside of our body. I showed you the veins on the back of my hand. Maybe you can see some on you. Sometimes you can see them in your arms. We all have veins, and our veins do a very important job. Do you remember what that job is? They carry our blood. That's right. They help our bodies by carrying our bloods. Well, guess what? The veins on a leaf also have a very important job. They carry nutrients. They carry food and mineral and water for the leaf. Isn't that awesome? Just like us. They have veins. We're kind of the same, aren't we? So let's talk about the colors on the leaves, because as I mentioned, they're starting to change. Why is that? Why do we have all spring and summer with these beautiful green leaves, and then the fall comes and everything starts to change and looks yellow, orange, red, purple? What makes that happen? There is something inside the leaf called chlorophyll. Can you say that? Chlorophyll. It helps the leaves. It's what gives the leaves their green color. And in the spring and the summertime, when the sun is shining all day long, we see it early in the morning till late at night, that helps the leaves with its chlorophyll, and it helps them be green. But now that the weather is getting cooler and we're back into the season called fall, well, what happens now is there's less sun shining during the day. If you've noticed, it doesn't get lighter till later in the morning, and it gets darker earlier at night. Because we have less sun, the leaves have less chlorophyll, and they start to lose their green color. But that's okay for us, because then we get all these other beautiful colors that we see. We'll take a look at some of those in just a minute. Now, at the same time that that's happening with the chlorophyll, the stem is not getting enough water anymore, and it's starting to dry out in the fall, and so it can't hold on to the branch as well as it used to. I have a branch here. I have a stick. Let me see if I can grab it. The stem attaches to the branch. Well, it's hanging there, and then it's getting drier and weaker and drier and weaker, and then the tree starts moving and a big wind comes, and that's what causes the leaf to fall down, is the stem just can't grip on there anymore because it's starting to dry out. So the leaves fall down. Okay, so you guys, I'm sure, have gone out and collected leaves. I have a hard time stopping once I start collecting leaves. I think it's so much fun. So I've collected a whole bunch that I have here that I would like to show you. Let me grab my tray and I will show you some of the leaves that I have collected. But when I show them to you, I'm going to put them in different groups. I'm going to sort them, okay? So let's see if you can guess what I'm sorting, how I'm sorting them. First up, I have this big green one here who's got some black spots on him, so he might have been a little bit sick before he fell. I'm going to put him there. I've got this purple one. I'm going to put that pretty purple one right there. I've got this pretty one that's got some red and orange in it, maybe a little yellow. I'm going to put him there. This one, you go over here. This is where you belong. You are going to need to go right here by this one. You're going to go over here by this one. Okay, how did I do it, guys? How did I sort my leaves? Can you tell? I did it by color. Green, these are the yellow, red, orange ones, and purple. Very good. That was sorting by color. Let's sort one more time. You ready? One more sort. Take you guys down. This time I'm going to do it by size. I'm going to order them actually by size. I'm going to go from big down to little. So I need you to help me. This is my biggest one. I'm going to put him right there. Let's see. How about this one? Is this one bigger or smaller than the first one? He's smaller, isn't he? So he's going to come over here. He's smaller. Okay. Next one I have is this one. Is this one bigger or smaller? He's bigger than that one. Is he bigger or smaller than this one? It's just a little bit smaller. So he's going to go next to him here. He's just a little bit smaller. How about this one? Bigger or smaller? Smaller. Bigger or smaller? Smaller. Bigger or smaller? Bigger. So he's going to go right there. So you can see I'm ordering them. I'm going from the biggest down to the smallest. I have one more. Let's see. Here he is. This guy. Bigger or smaller? He's definitely smaller. Is he bigger or smaller? Definitely smaller. Bigger or smaller? Definitely smaller. Oh, this one's close, but he's definitely smaller. So he's going to go there. So I went from the biggest one down to the smallest one, didn't I? That's how I ordered mine. Now I could sort them again like I did before when I sorted them by color. I could sort them by size. I could put all the big ones together and all the little ones together. Lots of different things that you can do with leaves. So when you collect yours, maybe you could try sorting and ordering them and seeing what you come up with. All right, before we go, I want to give you guys a few projects that you can do with leaves because there are so many fun things to do with leaves. I love to do leaf rubbings. Has anybody ever done a rubbing before? A rubbing is something that you do with a crayon, and it's best to do it with a crayon that doesn't have paper on it. You can use just the tip of the crayon, but it's easiest if you find one that doesn't have paper. So I'm going to go back to my first leaf that I showed you, my heart leaf. And I'm going to put him on my tray. And I'm going to take a blank piece of paper and put him right on top. And then what I do is I take my crayon and I just hold him sideways. And instead of coloring, I rub. I go back and forth over the leaf. And you can start to see, look, I can see the veins. I'm starting to see the outline of the leaf. And I see a stem. I can see all the parts of the leaf when I do that. Can you see my leaf? Isn't that neat? If you want to do one more step to this, you can take some paint and paint over this. If you remember when we talked about germs, the paint won't stick to the crayon. So when you paint over this, it'll just paint the paper and leave your leaf in the middle there. You can also take a piece of paper outside and put it on the bark of a tree. That's a lot of fun. You take the piece of paper, you put it on the bark of the tree, and then you take your crayon and you do the same thing, and you get the pattern from the bark. Then you can take it to another tree and see if the pattern of the bark is the same or different. So those are two different kinds of rubbings you can do. Let's see what else. I have, like I said, you saw some of my leaves. Let me show you all the leaves here. I'll put them in a pile and show them all to you. I collected a lot of leaves, and what I could do is I could take all these leaves and I could take another piece of paper and I could brush glue on it, and then I can make something called the collage. I can take, I almost have one here. I can take all my leaves and I can glue them to a piece of paper, and I can just make a beautiful fall collage picture. Isn't that pretty when you put all those different colors together? So that's another thing you can do. I've got one more for you here. I have some sticks. I told you I went out and I collected some sticks. I took my sticks and I stuck them into, this is just a piece of a pool noodle. If you have styrofoam at home, you can use that, but I had a pool noodle, so I cut off a piece and I put my sticks in there. I'm gonna take some tissue paper. I have some red tissue paper here. I can take this, I'm gonna tear off a piece. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on it. Let's see. See, dot, dot, not a lot, didn't need a lot. And I'm gonna put it on one of my sticks. And this is going to be a fall leaf on the tree. Now, if you don't have tissue paper, I also have something called cray paper. Maybe you have some of this at your house. I had some orange cray paper. Same thing. Take a little bit of it, tear it off. Dot, dot, not a lot with my glue. And stick it to one of my branches here, one of my sticks. And now I've got two leaves on my fall tree. What if you don't have cray paper? What if you don't have tissue paper? If your mommy or daddy or grandma or grandpa or big brother or big sister or another grown-up you know is a coffee drinker, they probably have coffee filters in the house. So you can also do this. You can take a coffee filter, and I chose red and orange. I'm just gonna use my red right now. I'm gonna color on my coffee filter with my marker. All I have to do is color like that. Then I take a squirt bottle, and I could color the whole thing, but I'm just gonna do this part right now. Then I take a squirt bottle, and I get it wet, and then when it dries, I can use this. I can tear this up, and I can put it on my tree as well. Now, one thing that I like about this is in the springtime, I can come back and do this again with pretty pinks and light greens and different spring colors. All right, guys, that's a lot for you to do. I hope you learned some things about leaves today, and I hope you had a good time. Here we go. On Monday, when you come back to see me on Monday, you need to wear your craziest cap you can find. A cap is a hat, and we are going to have Crazy Cap Day together on Monday. I will see you then. Have a great weekend, everybody.